Hi boys and girls, it's Miss Rossi. Today we're going to create a collage inspired by the work of Piet Mondrian. What you will be needing today is a pair of scissors, a glue stick, a pencil. You're going to need different colors of construction paper. We're going to need some red, yellow, and blue construction paper since those are the colors our artist uses. I have mine cut into all different sized rectangles and squares. We're going to need a white piece of paper, and we're also going to need some black paper. I have my black paper cut into two long skinny rectangles. I don't need my label anymore. I can throw that away, and you should be able to find this packet of papers in your art folder to use. Otherwise, you can always use construction paper or other colored paper you have at home. So today we learned about abstract artist Piet Mondrian. He was a Dutch painter who used squares, rectangles, horizontal and vertical lines, and our primary colors of red, blue, and yellow to make his paintings. Today we're going to create our own version of one of his paintings. So we're going to arrange all of our materials here in our own unique way on our paper to create a collage. A collage is when you glue multiple pieces of paper together or multiple different items, you can use other things besides paper, to create a piece of art. So I'm going to lay out all of my different shapes to see what I have here. Now in your packet, you might have different shapes than I do. I tried to give everybody a variety. So I see some squares, some four-sided figures that are the same length on all sides. You're going to see some rectangles, which are other four-sided figures where not all of the sides are the same length. You're going to have two sides being the same length on both sides. And I have some that are all different sizes. So you get to arrange your shapes on your paper however you would like. If you want to cut and create new different kinds of squares and rectangles from your paper, you can do that as well. Maybe you want some really tiny squares or really skinny rectangles. That's why we have our scissor here, so we can cut and change our shapes a little bit if we want. But our artist did use only squares and rectangles in his pictures, so we want to try and keep to those two shapes. I am going to start with my big red paper. And I think I want to start by gluing this one on my paper. So you can glue your shapes anywhere you would like on your paper to create your picture. Yours does not have to look like mine. You can start it however you would like and add your shapes however you would like. I opened up my glue stick and I rolled it up by twisting the bottom. Now I'm just rolling that glue all along the back of my paper. It's really important to get those corners and the edges, so I like to go around that border first and then fill in the center with my glue stick. I think I'm going to place my red square in the bottom corner here. Again, you should just be arranging your shapes however you would like on your paper. Yours should look totally different than mine. The only important things is that we want to make sure we're only using squares and rectangles. We are staying inside the border of our paper, so nothing's really hanging off the edge too much, and that we're being super neat with our picture and we're not adding too much glue. So now I can look at my other shapes and see how I want to arrange them on my paper. I'm going to do my black pieces of paper last, so I'm going to focus just on my colored papers first and start to place them around and see where I want them. Now this is an abstract picture, so it does not have to look like anything from real life. It should just look like our shapes and our lines. And I think I'm going to cut one of these pages to be a smaller shape. So before I do that, I'm just going to draw what I want to cut out with my pencil. So I want a tall and skinny rectangle. So I'm going to draw a line on my yellow paper with my pencil and just cut along that line to get that shape that I want. So again, you can cut and change the shapes of paper you already have. Maybe you want things that are bigger or things that are smaller. So you can cut into the papers however you would like. I think I want an extra small square. So I'm going to draw one here with my pencil. Again, it's easiest if we draw first and then cut it out so that we don't make any mistakes. And after I glued down that first piece, I wanted to make sure I could arrange everything else in a way that I liked. So I am placing them all first and I'm going to glue them down at the end. And you should just be arranging your shapes, moving them on the paper, overlapping them in ways that you think look nice. And if we think back to our artist pictures, he did leave some white space, so you don't have to cover up the entire paper. You can leave white space here and there and just overlap your shapes. It's totally up to you. All right, I think that looks good for my colored paper for now. I can take my black strips that I have, and we're going to use these to create those black outlines that we saw in our artist's paintings. So you can keep your strips the way that they are and find some places on your paper where you would like to lay them down and create vertical and horizontal lines. Or you can cut your black strips into smaller lines and smaller pieces and place those around your paper too. So I think I'm going to leave one of mine nice and thick like that, and then I want to cut this one in half. So with my pencil, I am just going to draw a line going right down the middle. Doesn't have to be perfect. So I can cut two skinny rectangles out of this one. And I'm very carefully going to follow that line. I am keeping my scissor hand in the same spot and moving my helping hand, the hand that is not holding the scissor, to guide my paper along as I'm cutting it. And you can also cut these pieces in half so that you have smaller lines to use also. And these lines are going to help us create even more of those shapes on our paper. So even more squares and even more rectangles. By connecting this vertical line, this line going up and down, with that smaller horizontal line going left to right, I'm able to turn that white space into two smaller rectangles. I think that looks good for my picture. Now I'm just going to take my glue stick, I'm going to go in and glue down all of my paper right where it is by placing a little bit of glue on the back and pressing it down firmly on my paper. If you see any corners or spots that are sticking up, you can always add a little bit more glue under there and hold it down again to make sure that it sticks. Like I said before, your picture does not have to look like mine. You should just be arranging all your shapes and colors in a way that you like. Once I finished gluing down all of my papers, I twisted my glue stick back down and put the cap on, making sure that it clicked shut. Now my papers are all connected. I'm just going to flip my whole project over, and I'm going to snip off any little extra bits that I see hanging off the edge. So I have a big black piece that was a little bit too long, and then I just see a little bit of red and blue on this side. And that is my collage all finished. I can throw out all my extra scraps of paper, or if you want to save them and use them at home on a different project, you can do that also. Once you're finished with your collage, take a photo or video of it and upload it on our Canvas page. I can't wait to see all the different kinds of abstract pictures you guys have created. Try your best, have fun, and get creative. I'll see you soon. Bye!